Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "Speech is power. Speech is to persuade, to convert, to compel." That quote is actually a quote that I used in opening up one of my speeches in a public speaking competition back in my college years. Now, I am a Maxwell Leadership Certified Speaker, and I am here to help you with your public speaking. I'm going to give you everything that I did in preparation for competitive public speaking, and now anytime I speak at an event. These are the steps that I go through. This is how I prepare my speech. These are the basics that I'm going to give you so I can help you become a better speaker. First off, let me just address this. I view public speaking as a conversation. And bear with me, listen to this thought. Public speaking is just having a conversation and talking to a large group of people, or maybe it's a classroom or a smaller group of people. You have conversations every day. Family, friends, people at church, your coworkers, you are all the time having conversations with people. When you start to view public speaking, even formal public speaking, as just a conversation, that you are talking to people, sharing ideas, and it may be a one-sided conversation where you're doing all the speaking and they are listening, but treat it just as a conversation. When I speak in front of a group of people, that's how I want to treat it. I want to treat it as if they have input into what I'm saying and what I'm trying to convey in my message to them. So as I speak to them, they receive, and I can judge, are they connecting and understanding what I'm saying, and are they following me? Now, if you view it as a conversation, that's already something that's an improvement. A conversation is something we all have, we all do, and it's something that we can understand and relate to, as opposed to standing on a stand in front of a podium in front of 500 people and reading some document placed in front of you. My public speaking instructor back in college said that is not public speaking, that is public reading. I hate to break it to you if you're one of those, you rely on your notes, but that's beside the point. So I'm going to give you several things that I do in preparing public speaking, and I hope this helps you become a better public speaker. So number one is your attention grabber, or your intro. It can be a quote, a story, or something to grab and hook the audience, like my Ralph Waldo Emerson quote, and then also referencing the story that it was how I opened up a public speaking competition. That is something, hopefully, that grabbed your attention, hooked you in, and wanted to make you watch the video and continue with the video. Now, that doesn't fit for everybody. Some people want to start with a quote. Some people want to start with a story. Some people may have some prop or action or some other thing that is an attention grabber that they can use. Whatever it is for your speech, your audience, and what you need, use what makes sense for you. And let it be your attention grabber. Number two, focus on your transition phrases. So when you're going from point 1 to point 2 to point 3, you want to make those transitions clear. Now, in this video, you saw where I specified point number 2. That is a transition phrase. It could be, the thought of my attention grabber now leads me to my second thought. That is a transition phrase. You need something to clearly define for your audience when you are changing thoughts, because as a speaker, you don't want to go rabbit chasing and all of your thoughts are jumbled together and just an absolute mess. You lose your audience, they get distracted, and they don't focus on your main points of speech. So focus on transition phrases and let them help you in conveying your message. Now, along with transition phrases, focus on connecting your talking points. That, again, very related to transition phrases, because when you have point 1 and point 2 and you can transition smoothly between those, then you are starting to connect your topic together. They can see how your first main point relates to your second main point, and how your first and second main point relates to your third main point. You want your speech and your topic to all be concise and connected together so that your audience can follow. They can build connections and relations between the points to help them remember it. The easier your speech is to remember, the greater impact it will have on the audience, because when they leave, they can remember it. I don't know about any of you that are watching, but I have listened to many speakers in my lifetime who did not do a good job at this, and you walk out of the conference room and you completely forget almost everything they spoke about. So it's vitally important. Next up is you need to clearly define your main points. Ideally, you want to have about 2 to 3 main points. For sake of this video, I've got 8 or 9 that I'm going to be covering. That is way more than you should have in public speaking, but this is a YouTube video, so I can get away with that. Try to keep your talk concise. 2 to 3 main points. 4 or 5 you can get away with, but it starts to stretch it. You want to keep clear, concise, a few points, because it helps people remember it and helps your message to stick with the audience. So clearly define your main points. Keep them clear, concise, simplified down, preferably about 2 or 3 main points, and go from that. So next up is transition phrases between those points. Yes, we're talking about transitions again. If you notice, a lot of public speaking and a lot of the points are connecting your talk together, making it one cohesive thought process. So transition phrases between the points is the same as transition phrases I referenced before. You can have them between your intro to your main point, your first main point to your second main point. You can have them from your last main point of the body of your talk into your conclusion. You want to have clear transitions throughout your entire talk. And you say, oh my gosh, Nick, you have referenced transition phrases and connecting talking points, because I need to emphasize that and get that point across, because the more connected your talk is and the clearer it is for your audience, the easier it is to understand. And if you think that I'm done talking about this, number 6 is referring back to your main points. No, I'm not going to specifically talk about transition phrases again, so you're safe. But if you notice, one thing that I've been doing, I've mentioned several of my points repeatedly mixed in with other talking points. Transition phrases, clear and concise main points, connecting your main points. I'm referring back to things that I've previously discussed so that it helps reinforce it and you remember. That is a trick that you learn in public speaking, because it keeps it in the mind of your audience. It keeps them thinking about it and remembering what you're talking about, so that you can follow along, or they can follow along with you. Number 7 is refer to something in the event, venue, audience, another speaker that has maybe spoke in the classroom or the event, and connect you with them. What this does is it re-engages the listener. They think back to the prior talk or something going on with the event. They then connect it to your talk, and when they think of the event or that other speaker, then they also think of you. It's mental connections that you are building that you can then tie everything together. Because when you make connections to the event, your surroundings, another speaker, make references to your other points, you refer back to your transition phrases or your main points that are clear and concise, you start to see connection after connection that starts to build, and it reinforces all of that with your audience. So number 8, and I'm getting to the end here, number 8 is a conversational or connecting style, some way that is engaging. I hope if you're still watching this video, and I hope you are, well, if you're seeing this, you are, but I hope you are connected. You feel like I'm actually engaging with you and I'm trying to teach you something or explain something to you. If you feel that way, then I've done my job, and it would be great if you would let me know down in the comments that you feel that way. But if you are a speaker, or you've seen a speaker that is not conversational, they stand, they're very formal and uptight, and they grasp onto a podium, stand absolutely still, something like that, they really don't connect with their audience. You almost feel intimidated by them in some way. But if you can keep connected and focus on what is being talked about, you're more likely to remember the talk. If you feel engaged, you feel like the person speaking is a friend or someone who cares about you, that will help you remember and keep up with the talk. So, the last thing that I will give you is always conclude your speech with something that is memorable, a quote, a summary of your talk, but always leave it with some form of a call to action or some memory that somebody can snap out of your talk, and that one thing will stick in their mind. It may be like my Ralph Waldo Emerson quote that I started out with. Maybe that is something that you will remember and will stick in your mind. Maybe it's a story that you have or something that makes your talk come to life and connect with your audience. For me, in competitive public speaking, this was hard because I was going into rooms not hearing any other speakers and was looking and talking to judges that I'd never met before. But I learned a trick where I would perfect or try to perfect my speaking, my topic, my points. I would keep them clear and concise, have transition phrases, quotes, stories. I would have all of that connected. But one of the things that I concluded on in one of my last competitions I competed in was I closed in referencing the keynote speaker from the prior night of the event, because I knew the judges had seen it, even though I didn't know where they were. I knew they would understand who spoke, and I knew it would be a connection for them to the overall event, regardless of what they had done that current day. It added a personal touch. It helped me relate to a keynote speaker, and it helped me connect my talk to the judges and give them one final thing to think, wow, this kid just compared himself or connected himself to a keynote speaker. And that was something that would stick in their minds and last, and that would reflect on my grade with the judges. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope maybe it is helpful and gives you several thoughts to consider in public speaking. If you enjoyed this, subscribe. Let me know down in the comments. I have a lot of experience with public speaking, and I would be more than willing to share some of that knowledge and experience with you guys here on YouTube. If you enjoy this and you find this helpful, please let me know, and I hope to be making more content like this in the future for you. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.